Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexa. Today we are doing a little bit of a coffee talk for day 6 of November. Today we are talking all about favorites. Favorites of all time, favorites of in general, favorites of any category you could possibly think of. So get out a pen and paper or get out your phone with your notes app because I have a lot of really good recommendations to check out in this coffee talk. Let's get into it.
And now you're wondering what's the point? What's the point of anything at all? But let me tell you what, that's just life putting you through the test. Before the dawn, it's always dark. Before the light, there is a tunnel. Before you run, you gotta stumble.
So I try to keep it to 3 in each category, but some categories it's not 3. Some categories it is. Some categories it's like not my literal favorite because and it's my favorite for like personal reasons, but I have like other things that I really like that I think other people would really like. But overall, these are things I would recommend to all my friends. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with books. For books, if you haven't read the Harry Potter series, I highly recommend. I feel like maybe it's a nostalgia pick for me, but also I feel like the second you read it, then you understand if you're not like a Potterhead. So definitely check that out. I would also say one of my favorite books that I've read in the past year or so is a book called Brain on Fire by Susanna Callahan. It was excellent. It was probably one of the most intriguing books I've ever read. Basically, it's this woman who, here, I feel like I actually have it on my bookshelf. I have it on my bookshelf next to me. So the synopsis is, when 24-year-old Susanna Callahan woke up alone in the hospital room, strapped to her bed, unable to move or speak, she had no memory of how she'd gotten there. Days earlier, she had been on the threshold of a new adult life, and now she was basically descending into madness and had no reason why. And this one is actually a memoir, so it's not like a made-up story. This is an actual story by an actual person, and it was amazing. I highly recommend it. I read it in like a day, 3 days, I can't remember, but really fast, and I don't read very fast that often anymore. The last book is another one that I recommend that's a little cheesy, but it's so good, and that is Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert. I mean, I feel like this is the book that lit my passion for travel and for adventure. Like it just lit that flame for me. So I would definitely check it out if you haven't read it. It may seem a little like overdone, but it's overdone for a reason. So next we're going on to music. We have specific albums, and then I chose a couple songs from each album if you just wanted to get like a taste of it. So starting off with my girl Taylor Swift, of course I cannot recommend anything without mentioning her name, and I have 3 albums specifically that are one of my favorites and one of the ones that I would recommend to somebody who's never listened to Taylor Swift before, and that is Reputation, Folklore, or her new album Midnights. I feel like any of those 3, you are on a good path. Specifically, if you want to check out specific songs from Reputation, I would check out Getaway Car or King of My Heart. From Folklore, I would check out August or Hoax because those are my 2 favorites. And from Midnights, I would check out Maroon or The Great War, which is on the 3 a.m. edition. So definitely check those out. I also wanted to mention Lana Del Rey. I feel like she's become a little bit more mainstream than she was when I first discovered her, but I really love her album Norman fucking Rockwell. I feel like that album is iconic. I love a lot of her albums and they're all great, but for me, NFR is like the best of all time. There's not a single skip on that album, but specifically, if you're going to listen to one single song, it is Cinnamon Girl. You cannot live your life without listening to Cinnamon Girl. I'm not exaggerating. Cinnamon Girl is it, period. So please listen to it if you haven't. Next is one of my favorite albums. I'm going with like Western artists first and then some K-pop artists, so don't worry for my K-pop fans on this. Next is Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. I am obsessed with this album still years later, and specifically the songs Fake Smile and Thank You Next. I feel like they both were very iconic songs, but especially Fake Smile that's my favorite one off that album, and I really love it. So I definitely recommend it. Next is a recommendation of a Sam Smith album. This is one I have on vinyl, and I'm obsessed with it. It's The Thrill of It All, and if you are looking for specific songs, check out No Peace and Pray. Last but not least, LM5 by Little Mix, and I cannot tell you how iconic this album is to begin with, but the specific songs I want to recommend to you is Woman's World and Think About Us. Those are my two favorite off that album, and there's a reason. It's iconic. If you are not a mixer, you should be one, because they are so good. They are so impressive, and their album is fire. Definitely check it out. Talking about two K-pop albums that I want to recommend. The first one is Map of the Soul 7 by BTS. That has been my favorite BTS album so far that I've checked out. I've only checked out a couple, but that has been my favorite by far. Specifically, Black Swan and Friends. Friends is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. And Black Swan, I feel like nobody can hate Black Swan, truly. As for another album, I would recommend Born Pink, and by Blackpink, of course. And this is a recent drop from them. The songs that I would recommend are Type of Girl or The Happiest Girl. Both of them are iconic. You definitely should check them out. Next, my coffee order at Starbucks, you might be wondering, because I am a coffee drinker. My order is normally an iced caramel macchiato. Very basic. For my favorite TV shows, if you're looking for TV shows this fall/winter, number one, in no particular order, just to preface, because I can never pick a favorite. Number one, Gilmore Girls. I love Gilmore Girls. I have been obsessed since I was younger. I think I started watching it my freshman year of college, and I've rewatched it several times since then. I feel like Lorelai Gilmore is like my soul sister, and her love of coffee, her undying love of coffee, in fact, is unmatched, except for maybe for me. So yeah, I love it. I also love the show Supernatural. This is one of the things that I have watched a lot. I'm specifically a Dean Winchester fan. If you guys watch Supernatural, if you know, you know. Dean Winchester is where it's at. Okay, continuing. If you haven't seen it, I feel like the whole world might have. Game of Thrones, specifically seasons like 1 through 7, you can forget the last season, but Game of Thrones is chef's kiss. And House of the Dragon, this is a new show for HBO, and I am obsessed with the House of the Dragon. I am a big Rhaenyra fan. I'm a big Daemon fan. I mean, it's amazing. Next is Stranger Things. I think everyone and their sister has seen Stranger Things, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. And last but not least, this is a little bit more lighthearted. I really love The Great British Baking Show. I feel like something about it, just seeing like Paul and Prue and like seeing all of them just live their lives and be happy, and I don't know, it just, something about it warms my heart while they are baking things. It just makes me happy. I think it sounds weird, but it's so good. Next, we're going to talk about some podcasts. So some of my favorite podcasts. I listed out 5 of my favorite podcasts in no particular order. What We Said podcast. It's fun. Has story times, it has serious moments, it has everything in between. 2 hot takes. They read Reddit stories and react to them, and some of them are crazy. 3, The Bad Broadcast. I love it because she loves to hate on things, and I also love to hate on things. 4, this is a little bit separate category, The Financial Feminist. If you've never heard of it, it's a finance podcast, and I don't listen to it religiously, but I do really like it when I do listen to it. And 5, for our crime junkies out there, Crime Junkie. Highly recommend. It has like a new like real world crime story for each episode. Favorite movies, no particular order. This is just the first things that came to my head when I thought of favorite movies. Number 1, Inception. Number 2, Princess Diaries. Number 3, Anastasia, like the little kids cartoon. Amazing. Phenomenal. And Bridesmaids. Love Bridesmaids. It's hilarious. Hobbies. I don't really have hobbies, to be honest, but I wish I did. My hobby is YouTube, I guess. But also I play guitar. I like to do that for fun. I like to play volleyball when I feel like it. That's about it. Favorite places that I have been. So I haven't been a lot of places in my life, although I have plans to go a lot of places at some point in my life, hopefully. But I took a trip to Washington, D.C. when I was younger, maybe when I was in middle school-ish age, and that was really fun. And also South Dakota, I went a couple years ago right before COVID, and that was also very fun. Although I am going to Mexico in a few days, and that might also be my new favorite place, so we will see. And last but not least, last question, what's my favorite season? I really like, it's not really a season, but like the season from like mid-fall to mid-winter, that specific area time is my favorite just because it's cooler, it's nice, but it's not like you've had months and months of snow yet, so it's a really nice time. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know me, getting some really good recommendations in general because I feel like you guys needed them for some reason. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found some inspiration or found some things that you really want to try or listen to or see or anything like that. I will see you guys next time for another day of November. Bye guys.